Good evening, I'm Sangeeta Kandola. Jeremy Corbyn will not be returning as a Labour MP at the next election. That is an order for some Keir Starmer. The Labour leader says the party has changed. So what now for Mr Corbyn? Will he stand again under a different banner? Our political correspondent Simon Harris has the latest.
Jeremy Corbyn was in no mood to answer questions. He didn't know it, but his successor as Labour leader was about to deliver a crushing blow.
Jeremy Corbyn will not stand for Labour at the next general election as a Labour Party candidate.
Jeremy Bernard Corbyn, Labour Party.
Less than a year after he was re-elected as Islington North MP, an investigation into anti-Semitism in the Labour Party concluded there were serious failings in leadership under Mr Corbyn. But this was his response.
The numbers have been exaggerated, in my view.
That led to him losing the Labour whip, and now Sir Keir Starmer's ruling on his future.
It's not a question of what Keir is doing, it's what Jeremy himself has wrought on himself from what he did in the past, what he did today. He only has himself to blame.
In November, I asked Mr Corbyn about his future as an MP.
Will you be Labour's candidate in Islington North at the next election?
I hope so. I hope that the party reinstates the whip to me, which in my view should never have been removed.
But he also refused to rule out fighting his North London seat as an independent candidate.
At the last election, more than 34,000 people in Islington North voted for Jeremy Corbyn. The constituency is regarded as an ultra-safe Labour seat, but that might change if he stands as an independent. In his constituency, in Finsbury Park, it wasn't hard to find Corbyn fans.
I love Jeremy because he's a good guy.
Would you vote for him as an independent?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you vote for him if he was an independent?
Yes, I would. Because he's done quite a lot for this Islington North.
Would you vote for Jeremy Corbyn if he stood as an independent?
100%. Nothing wrong with Jeremy Corbyn.
I'll be voting for Jeremy, and I'm sure he'll win.
Jeremy Corbyn isn't just a regular customer at Gat's Cafe, he's also a popular dish. The owner, Hussein, created it for him and named it after him.
The name is Jeremy Corbyn dish, is vegetarian, special falafel for him. A lot of people, they love him, this meal. They come here, they said, give me 2 Jeremy Corbyn dish.
Tonight, Jeremy Corbyn used Twitter to attack Sir Keir Starmer's decision as a flagrant attack on the democratic rights of Islington North Labour Party. Simon Harris, ITV News, Islington.
The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is under growing pressure to back down on plans to expand the ultra-low emission zone. MPs from within his own party and union leaders say expanding ULEZ is the last thing that Londoners need during the cost of living crisis. Sam Holder reports.
There is no shortage of critics lining up to call on the Mayor to put the brakes on ULEZ expansion. And now even some of Sadiq Khan's should-be allies are turning on his plans. 4 London Labour MPs have publicly come out against the new zone, which they say will harm some of the poorest who need to drive for work and are already struggling with the cost of living crisis.
It's not an easy thing to do, to say to your own Labour Mayor, actually, we know that you're really committed to this policy and you're doing it for the best of reasons, because who wouldn't want to clean our air? But is now the right time to be doing that?
Will you be asking Keir Starmer to intervene?
I haven't really thought about that as yet. What I would like the Mayor to do is to really think about, is this the time?
In just over 6 months' time, ULEZ will be expanded across all London boroughs. Vehicles with emissions over the limit will have to pay £12.50 a day. For air quality campaigners, timing is of the essence. Ella Deborah lost her life 10 years ago today. She was just 9. Living close to the South Circular, air pollution was officially listed as a cause of death.
ULEZ does not extend to the South Circular, which is the road that ultimately cost Ella's life. And Lewisham still has a high rate of asthma. So of course I want it to cover the South Circular and North Circular. Of course I want it to.
London's air quality has long been of concern, and the Mayor has long made it a priority. But even some of his own supporters feel uneasy at the sudden ULEZ expansion plans. Sam Holder, ITV News.
Well, earlier, Sadiq Khan told ITV News London about why he has chosen to press ahead with the ULEZ expansion, despite opposition from Londoners and many within his own party.
Toxic air is a matter of life and death. It's a fact that every year in our great city, around 4,000 people die prematurely directly because of the poison in our air. There are children with stunted lungs forever because of the air pollution, and adults with a whole host of health issues, from asthma to cancer, from dementia to heart disease. It's the poorest Londoners, least likely to own a car, who suffer the worst consequences.
He's continuing to appeal for information, nearly a week on since a 13-year-old girl went missing. Maria Mar Callon was last seen in Bermondsey a week tomorrow. Officers say she's gone missing before but has now been out of contact for longer than usual. They are urging anyone with information to come forward. And the Met Police say 18 arrests have been made during a series of dawn raids relating to a sophisticated crime network. They're believed to be responsible for more than £1.5 million worth of stolen vehicles. Finally, a new hard-hitting theatre production is posing some serious questions around the Grenfell Tower fire, in which 72 people lost their lives. The production, Grenfell System Failure, uses testimonies of bereaved families who took part in the final phase of the inquiry. Wright has more.
The Grenfell Inquiry, as a play,
I have changed my schedule to fit this in,
dramatising the words as they were delivered.
But this is more important than anything.
Watching rehearsals, one of the lawyers who represented the bereaved and survivors.
What's it like seeing yourself performed on stage?
It's odd and surreal, but Tanveer has managed to pick up my mannerisms, delivery. I suspect lots of people have heard of Grenfell in this country. They've read the headlines, but they don't know the detail. And so to condense what happened in a couple of hours and to put out the highlights or lowlights, whichever way you look at it, people are going to be shocked, as I was during the course of the inquiry, to hear the things that we heard.
Goodbye. I'm leaving this world.
System Failure is the second instalment from Nicholas Kent and Richard Norton-Taylor.
These are the diaries and notebooks, or daybooks, of Peter Mann.
Their acclaimed first part, Value Engineering, was even watched by the Housing Secretary Michael Gove, who was then booed by the audience.
The government failed to regulate the building materials that were put on the cladding of that building, and that's a scandal.
A unique disaster in a sense, and absolutely avoidable.
Nobody from the TMO or the council called us.
Also represented in the play, Hisham Shukair, who lost 6 members of his family in the tower.
How frustrating is it that almost 6 years after Grenfell now, there have still been no prosecutions?
It's like a knife in your heart. But as long as we fulfill our objective, which is to make sure that this doesn't happen again and things do change, I'm prepared to take that dagger in my heart. But as long as, it gives me the outcome of what I want, which is the justice, things to change, and for this never to happen again.
System Failure opens at the Playground Theatre in North Kensington on Saturday. Rags Martel, ITV News.
Right, it's been another bright day. Can we expect the same again tomorrow? Here's James with the forecast.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hey there, good evening. A change in the weather. We've got a lot more cloud to contend with, outbreaks of rain, and that's what we've got overnight tonight. The good side of that is it's going to be much milder, certainly frost-free, lows of 4 to 6 Celsius, and a little bit breezier too. But it does mean that Thursday itself is going to feel completely different to Wednesday, where we've had all that lovely winter sunshine. We'll continue to see this sort of quite grey, murky cloud. We might see 1 or 2 brighter breaks pushing in from the north and west later on in the day. But in spite of the fact that it's a bit of a gloomier feel to Thursday, temperatures remain on the mild side. We're looking at highs of 12 or 13 Celsius, several degrees up on where where we'd expect to be at this point in the calendar. As far as what happens next, well, more of this changeable, unsettled weather. We've got high pressure keeping things settled to the south. We've got these lows moving across the Atlantic to the north. We're sort of stuck in the middle, and unfortunately it means that we will expect to see quite a lot of cloud, outbreaks of rain, but it remains surprisingly mild. In fact, as we head into Friday, we're looking at highs of 15, maybe 16 Celsius. Bit of a breezy day, but hopefully brighter on Saturday and slightly less windy too.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
And that is all for now. We are back on air tomorrow from just after 6 o'clock with updates in Good Morning Britain. Until then, from everyone on the late team, a very good night to you.